Your main man returns. Today we're going to be talking about the role-playing group that I'm in now. We've been playing the same game now for almost a year, just under a year. We play every Friday. We're doing old school. You understand what I'm talking about? Dungeons and Dragons Advanced, second edition slash first edition, sort of homogenization of both of those. Um, we started in Cormier and Forgotten Realms, and gosh, we're playing there for a long stretch of the game. Then the game master moved it into Ravenloft. The game master, he's been on some videos here. Frank, if you've seen him in any of my videos, he's running the game. He was, playing back in my Ravenloft game, which I've talked about in previous videos. You can go and look at those at your leisure as your mind desires. He became a huge fan of Ravenloft because of that. So he wanted to kind of flip the script and run the Ravenloft with me. So we were in Cartacus, which is the domain of the wolf weir Harkon Lucas. And he went and dug up a picture of Pete Steele. For those of you that know old 90s gothic music, like his 90s metal band Typo Negative and Carnivore, he's the lead singer of those bands. He's since deceased, unfortunately, but really kind of a distinct sort of melancholy, ridiculously over the top presentation of gothic music. This incredibly slow, deep, booming, like bass like voice that he used to sing in. He used an image of him for Harkon Lucas, basically, as if Pete Steele in his prime was playing Harkon Lucas as the character. So, that was pretty neat. It was interesting. And we got to roleplay a little bit with Harkon Lucas. We weren't in a situation where we're adversarial towards him. The game has really kind of gone through a lot of different stuff and a lot of good role playing. We had up to like 8 players at one point. There's a problem with 2 of the players, and they got the boot. So it was interesting. This is my son's first game. We started just as a one shot of Dungeons and Dragons. I said, well, let's do. He played like I ran a little bit of something for him before that, but this is his first real campaign, first real game session that's gone on for a long period of time. Like I said, we're almost at a year now, which is really quite something. My character is Godai, the unbeatable, the beater of ass, the bringer of the heavens, the storm king, the hand of Talos, the one who will make you humble. He is an enormous barbarian from the top of the world in the Forgotten Realms setting, from the ancient ice dread shores of long forgotten oblivions. A character who very strong, very brutal. However, inside the character has a very good heart, a very good um, a lot of kindness in him. He doesn't like to see wickedness. He doesn't like to see badness, to see people trampled or hurt, despite being a follower of the god of destruction, of fire, of storm and thunder. Really sort of emphasizing a lot of the more interesting aspects of Talos, really the sort of heavy metal god. Um, However, there has been some brutalities. Even if your character isn't necessarily an evil individual, that doesn't mean in a lot of real world religious traditions there weren't human sacrifices. There weren't debts that had to be paid to the god when the god came calling. And my character has had to do that a little bit. And then it comes out interesting because he's not like, yeah, I did this. He's like, oh, I feel bad about that. So I feel guilty, but he remembers the times when the storms came and guided the shaman, when they were freezing, when they were hungry for the hunt, for the roots buried up under the ice, and kind of working all these little details of the religiosity of the character in there. Not like, I was because I'll just kill everything and destroy stuff. No, no, no. You got to put more substance, more soul onto it, not just come by with the flavor funk. You have to really make it interesting and get a character you can really groove with. So the character has a lot of depth to him. Not really, honestly, the character I would have made for a long campaign. We made it for a one shot, and I just sort of did the best I could to adjust with the character for trying to drag as much role playing ability as I could. I don't know. I made the character rather introverted, so he drinks a lot. But he, of course, when he starts drinking with the libations, with the liquid courage in social situations, he's really not adept. I mean, he's a individual from a tribe of people who are stoic and strong and didn't really talk about what they were doing or their feelings or how they felt, that sort of thing. He is seeing this, in this Cormier, which I was kind of like this sort of a fantasy France-esque, as Forgotten Realms really sort of parodies the real world, of course. Initially, just Europe, and then they start, expanding it to Africa, to the Middle East, to the Orient, to the even to the New World of America. That really working in a bit of a lot of different aspects of our world. And Cormier always really seemed like France to me. Feel free to leave in the comments below if you always thought of Cormier as something else, maybe England. I don't know. Sembia sort of looked more like England to me, or Britain, or whatever, however you want to put that. So we're playing in this game, and really just a lot of interesting. And a lot of interesting stuff has come. If you want to look up the former professional wrestler Bruiser Brody, that's basically the image I'm using for my character. But my character was blessed with Talos, and this is AD&D second edition. He just started the game, with normal stats, but I gained Frank had all the stats go up basically on my character, and my strength particularly went up to a 20, and that's not an AD&D. That's not like a 3rd edition or 3.5 or 5th edition, or a 20 don't really mean that much. A 20 back then, that's like a stone giant strength. That man has a strength of a stone giant. That man will body slam things. That man will pick an Etten up and body slam the Etten. That man will bring the thunder and the power and the potency and the pain to all that perceive they are going to put their hands upon him and do unconscionable things, and that certainly won't be allowed to slide. There was another player in the group that's like really sort of an old school, like sort of player you run into as a teenager that's like a super problem player. Like, he doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand. I'm going to talk about him in another video in this series here. This guy just doesn't get it. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. He doesn't get it. And Frank will be like, oh, we try this, or we do this, or we do that, and I tried this way. And the guy just keeps screwing up. He's playing a paladin. And instead of playing this character who was this, paladin, he's the fearless. But his character was like terrified all the time, always afraid. But he didn't get that. And he would play him up and accordingly to being a coward. Like, he'd be trying to get the odds if he was trying to fight somebody. If something badass came up, like this Etten came up, and he started jumps way to the back, starts shooting his bow. Like, the first time, I was thinking to myself, you have a bow? That was never even mentioned before. How can we even know about that? He's not going to run up and fight the Etten. Godai will go up there, fight the Etten, we'll slam it, we'll drop the big knee on it, we'll cover it, the back will be ripped, the man will be laid out for 3 or 4 game sessions, selling their back, just the way he always does, because that man is a main eventer, is going to the pay window of heaven, every opportunity he can get, Dusty Rose booking in the clouds, if you will, baby. It's definitely, I guess, the one sort of frustration. The other players are pretty good in the game. They're really good. Some of them are really good. Some of them are okay. But this guy just always trying to PvP other people and doesn't really get it. Like, he PvP'd almost every person in the game. Everybody except for the guy who's playing he's been a fighter druid, a dwarf named Mordecai. My buddy David has done a really good job. His character will be super hard to fight against. But he really played the tyrannical, you're going to do what I want. And then his character's like, I'm fearless. And then, every time he gets in a confrontation, like he got a confrontation with my character, I'm trying to break one of the other players out of the jail. He's like, no, you're not going to do that. And then he had his followers here attack me. And when I'm distracted, he comes and try to sneak attack from behind. So Frank will joke him and say, oh, man, you got that sneak attack bonus. You got that for your class. You got all that sneak attack now. And the guy, he just couldn't get with it, man. Couldn't play a follower tier very well. And he fell from grace, and Frank keeps trying to do something with him. And that's really something you want to be really cognizant of when you miscast. Because Frank really tried to take him and try to build a game for him. Try to make him like the leading man, cast him in the leading man role. Which is cool. There's no problem with trying something like that with a player. But sometimes that can tragically and horrendously fail. Just like going down like a Zeppelin on fire. You understand what I'm talking about? And it was pretty ridiculous. But I have a special guest here. If the guest would like to come on.
Hey.
And whoop, there we go. Sorry. There we go. You get over there. That's better.
Yeah.
So, he got a D20 shirt from one of his Christmas presents.
Yeah. I
tell him about what you're doing.
With you with I do think that his character is pretty cowardly. But in
a coward.
How my character was also shooting arrows, but he was kind of
another filthy coward
saying, well, he was kind of making his character he was kind of cowardly, and now my character's feeling bad about that.
Yeah.
At a certain point in the game.
He PvP'd both me and my 12-year-old son in the game, and both of us have beaten living hell out of his character.
Yeah.
I mean, we beat the brakes off that boy, on one-on-one fights.
Yeah.
I PvP'd him twice. and just annihilated him. I didn't even start it. Like he was attacking you. Like he doesn't get it. Like he just doesn't get it. So he gets, and being nice as I am, I made sure not to like kill his character, which most people probably would have when you get attacked from behind by your paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're fighting, bad guys, and a paladin decides to attack you from behind with a sword.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to tell me a little about your character, Grubson?
Well, my character is Max. Wolf. That's his last name, and he is a half elf werewolf ranger.
And he became a werewolf during the game. He got
Yeah.
he got cursed. It was a whole because Frank he was trying to do this deal, and Frank built it up over a year. I'm playing almost a year now. I mean, how long did he build it up? Like maybe 7 sessions from the start of the werewolf
Yeah.
angle to when you became a werewolf.
Yeah.
And Frank went a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit, and then when he
And
became
then
a werewolf, Frank just kept building it up. But I'm sorry, you go ahead. I'm trying to
that's okay.
get my talk on if you understand, baby.
Yeah, my character got blessed by his god. He worships Malar, the god of the hunt, and
You want to tell him what class you are?
I am a ranger, and yeah, so he like values nature and the hunt. He respects it a lot. He also hates goblins tremendously.
Yeah, that's his favorite enemy.
Yeah, because
Let's hate him some goblins.
yeah, they killed my character's father. And yeah, I think I've done a lot of things with my character. When my character fought Azor, he like beat him pretty badly.
Did he even do any damage to you?
No, he swung at me with
A
his
grown man
sword,
attacks his character.
and
Not even do a point of damage to him.
yeah, he also got urinated on. Actually, he got urinated on a whole bunch of times.
I can't believe you did that. He was not encouraged. Don't talk about that. Alive and in living
But
color.
yeah,
I did not think the boy would
he
talk
did.
about that. I was like, no.
He
So
also got his stuff stolen from him.
yeah. His character kept like Azor kept like messing with his character. Like he built a shrine and Azor like tried to have it destroyed and I had like a storm happened, this big holy storm happened, and there was this stone that basically was erected from Talos in this village, so it was like blessed. And Azor comes in there and like taking over the village, and then like you have to take your stone out of here. And like almost like that's after I whooped his ass twice in character, and he almost had to be dealt with. My character is Unarthur barbarian, so you know, you don't want to mess with those too badly.
Yeah.
They are, if you don't know, in AD&D, they are the apex fighter class. They whoop that ass. They take a lot of experience, despite the fact of how many experience it takes. My character and his character are tied. We're both 12th level, which is enormous in that edition, and that's way higher than anybody else in the game. I mean, I don't know. I think the other characters are probably 9th, 10th level, mostly like that, because we don't do individual experience. It's like based on what you do, what you've seen, how you role played, all that kind of stuff. I mean, individual experience definitely is the jam and the way to go, and definitely the way that I like it, and the way that my group likes it. So, um, Azor did beat one of Frank's younger brother. Frank's youngest brother was playing. Frank's youngest brother's he's a really good role player. I really like playing with him. I mean, when you say youngest, I mean, what is he, like 32, something like that. But he's doing a great job in the game. He was just playing. He was playing a gnome thief, and the gnome thief got killed, and the reincarnation spell was used on him by this member of a death cult. I basically went and got his body and was like, "Can you help? I don't know magic. I'm a freaking barbarian, dude. I know how to destroy a magic item. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I got his character reincarnated. I don't know what the guy could do. I just knew that they had done some stuff to bring some people. It appeared to bring some people back from the dead. So when Matt's character got killed in this huge battle, we basically sieged a city who were followers of Tyr, and then they had turned and like fallen and become followers of Tempest, and it was like this Duke, and Frank made the Duke like nasty. Like he was very, very powerful. But we were able to just blitzkrieg right past his men, and we were on him like, blah, blah, blah. It don't matter how bad you are. When you just start getting rocked, that's enough for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we won.
Yeah, Duke Thirst paid the price, and like he said, he actually is a werewolf, and his character during the game has kind of got more control over him. You want to tell him about the whole deal where you got cursed, like with the witch and all that?
Yeah.
When you found it?
Yeah, I really think the game master did a really good job. with not just doing like the same thing, not just having my character be bitten by a werewolf. We got captured by a cannibal witch who imprisoned us, and then she got my character to drink from a paw print from a werewolf on the full moon, and it turned him into one. And I think it was a really good scene. I think the game master did a really good job. And also, like before, he wasn't able to like control it. He was like getting out of control and eating people. And
He did cause quite a few problems for the party.
yeah, then he got blessed by Malar, and that allowed him to like control it. He also was able to turn into like a normal wolf too. And yeah.
Now, when we were in Ravenloft, you want to tell him about that?
Oh yeah, my character wasn't able to like transform, and his regeneration got slowed down. He used to be able to like, yeah, he got his hand cut off.
Yeah, my other party member, Azor, cut his hand off.
Yeah.
Because he disobeyed Azor's rules in the town.
And Azor paid the price for that.
He did. No, I mean, it's funny. My seeing my kid feuding with a grown man and like going over on him constantly, and not because a grown man wants him to or trying to let him. Like my kid just goes over on him. It's hilarity.
Yeah. So what was I? Oh yeah. So yeah, his regeneration got slowed down. He had to like resort to just using his hunting skills, and he is a really good like with daggers, like really good. And so yeah, he kind of like saw that as his god is like testing him to see if he's still strong. That's the way my character interpreted it.
Yeah, and then you want to tell him what happened then? I'm not
Oh
trying to
yeah.
spoil it.
We were fighting a whole bunch of drow elves.
This is in Cartacus.
Yeah, my character was about to like get murdered. He got like stabbed like 10 times with like swords, and then Harkon Lucas.
That's the lord of
him.
Cartacus. They're like to the south of Barovia.
He like helped kill several of them, and then he like touched my character's arm and said that he was like free. My character just went like crazy and out of control, and he started like killing, just destroying and mauling all of the drow elves. I mean, they were just destroyed.
Yeah, and they even had some driders with them.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Only a couple.
I picked up a drider and put the Steiner screwdriver on it.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. And we pulled out a video so everyone could actually see what the Steiner screwdriver looked like. And that did happen to that drow. And also the spinning pile driver happened to Azor. You got spinning pile driver and knocked completely out. Like he just.
Yeah, that was when my character got locked.
Oh yeah. Azor went and arrested him and threw him into prison. So I went and busted him out.
Yeah.
And there's a follower of Talos in there. So kind of the backstory in the game is there is this huge battle between the followers of Talos and Tyr and Cormyr. And basically the followers of Tyr are in control of Cormyr, and they kind of almost driven the followers of Talos into extinction kind of years before the game starts. There's a few small little almost cells at this point of followers of Talos. And my character and the other party members, the initial party members, him and Azor and Aramis and a few of the other characters. Well, I'll kind of go through and tell you what the other characters are in the video too, because fuck it, I make long videos. So he,
oh, wow, yeah, we're already at 18 minutes.
Yeah, almost 19, Mr. Grubson. Yeah. But you did a great job of that, by the way. Boom.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But you need to realize I'm the Socrates of RPGs, little man. I always do the best job there is.
Yeah.
Rocking my Sinestro shirt right now. I got that on. Yeah, he's got a Red Lantern shirt. I don't know if that's ever been in the videos, but yeah, it's really been a good game. So that's kind of the beginning. And we were sort of this Aramis and Azor are basically adopted by this guy, Duke. God, what is his name? It's not Eberron, but.
Duke Thirst?
No, Duke Thirst is the one that we beat down and I made humble, and then Aramis cut his head off, and everyone kept saying Azor had cut the head off.
Yeah, that's kind of risks against orcs.
Orcs, yeah. And there's definitely a lot of, because there were a lot of orcs too in the beginning of the game, orcs with some goblins who there had been huge problems, and it was kind of dying down. And Frank got into like how all these rangers were setting up stuff. So Frank does a really good job of he makes something, and then he waits to see what you make, and then he makes more, and he sees how you play your character, and he'll start creating things that you can interact with, you can do your deal with, and kind of like whatever you're trying to push as your gimmick. He'll make sure you have time, ample time, really, to get your gimmick over. And he doesn't just hand you something, but he'll try to accommodate stuff. He's like almost like on a scale of 1 to 10, he's almost a 10 as a game master as far as doing that. Like he'll put a little bit of stuff in, but he's not going to railroad you, and he doesn't like put like an empty sandbox out there either. There's a lot of stuff in there, and there's just a tiny railroading here or there, which you need. I mean that's very important. You don't want to have a all the way sandboxy kind of game. That generally just means the game master didn't prepare anything at all, and you certainly don't want that. You want some plot points in there, and certainly plot points can happen or not happen depending on what you've done. You're like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting to see how that worked out, and then kind of talking to him after the fact, he's like, oh, I kind of just thought this and that, But if you get something hot, he'll go with it. And he built up that whole werewolf deal. Like he was asking, there's basically guys, I guess he was a demon. Like, I don't know. I don't think we ever really found out what Morris was. This guy, he just called himself Morris, but we found out later, I mean, he's like a demon. We seen him like shift into something and fly off. And he was like a wizard. And my character didn't trust her from the beginning. He was a witch.
My character, I think.
His character liked him though.
Yeah, my character, because like
that was your home skill.
I guess they kind of like made it like my character looked at him as like an old man who like knew a lot of stuff, and he told my character that if you drank from the paw print of a werewolf on the full moon, or maybe it's just a normal wolf, didn't really make that clear, but then I'll become one. My character would become one, and that's what happened. He did drink from paw print.
Yeah, so Frank did some research on werewolves and he kind of came up with that and a couple other things worked into the game. He worked some Wolfbane stuff in there too.
He did? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did a real good job with that. We would always like mess with the paladins. We got into this tomb in the game where he like went into the tomb and he just robbed the fuck out of it. It was this tomb. It was like these relics of Tyr, and he busts in there and just breaks their graves apart and just rips all the stuff out. Like the bodies are like falling off the corpses, like in armor, and he's just yanking the armor off, and I mean it was really ridiculous. And then there's a guy who's playing a thief. He's one of the guys. He's the guy that's out now. He was the drizzling shits. Him and his girlfriend were playing, and they had a problem with Frank, and now they're out the game. And all the better. I mean they were horrible, right?
Yeah, they're pieces. Yeah.
George Kitty is. You funnier than hell, Mr. Grubs. So they were out there, but the thief, we'll call him Jabroni number 1. He doesn't need a name. But he's prying like a gem out of the statue eye of this like statue of Tyr, and Christian just he's got a tunnel vision. He doesn't care about that. He and I even made sure he knew. My character was sitting there the whole time watching him. My character would be robbing people's graves. I'll whoop your ass if I want something. And he's just sitting there watching. And then the girl in the group, she was playing a halfling fighter, and she took something else out of the tomb, and he was mad as hell about that. Not because she took something from the tomb, but because she took something he wanted.
Yeah, didn't she take that
some kind of wolf cloak or something? I
think it like grew with people, like it would grow with you and like give you more strength.
I don't know. It's disappeared into the annals of time.
The way we got into that tomb was we were fighting.
Well, hold on. Let's finish this part. I was gonna tag you back in and let you. No, you're good, baby. So you had this this character here that's really in no way devout, and afterwards, like Frank is just like fuming, like like he did the scene as poorly as you possibly could have. But don't get me wrong, I'm just saying that the game was absolutely fantastic. You just have to kind of work around him. And as a player, he does one thing really good. He's super interactive. Like he'll talk to you in character, this and that, and the next thing, and he just can't sell. Like if you have a barbarian who grew like 5 inches in the course of the game, put on like 160 pounds in the game of sheer muscle, became strong, and you just see him like, yeah, and he just with his bare hand be knocking monsters out left and right, putting a spinning pile driver on people, and has done these things to you, right? Like you would sell, you wouldn't be like just running the mouth, and he can't help himself. He just got to run the mouth. So There's always something that can be slightly aggravating in a game, but overall, it provides a lot of comic relief, and Lord knows it gives me fodder for videos for RPG horror stories. Frank loves to put those on, particularly the 76 armor class one. There and make people even random people who barely play games to watch it. Watch this, funny as hell. Bill was bitch ass candidly. Um, so, yeah, you want to tell them what we did to get into the tomb of, this is a holy tomb of tears is being guarded. You want to tell them about that?
My character, I think Igor said something about there being something in the area. So my character was tracking it with the party, and he was able to figure out it was barbarians, and there was a whole bunch of people who worship Talos, and they all got just killed because what happened was there was this enormous forest that was moving around and eating people and consuming stuff, and my character decided to burn it down with the help of the barbarians, and then the Fenris wolf came out of the ashes and just started killing all the barbarians, and our characters all just started attacking it, and of course Azor the Fearful was in the back.
Yeah, he wasn't right one. I jumped on his back. I'm riding it, punching it right in his eye. I'm like, it was enormous, enormous. I mean, it wasn't like Godzilla size, but it was probably 70 foot long, something. It was it would probably been like fighting an elder dragon or something. This thing was, I don't know exactly how long it was supposed to be, but it was enormous. I was sitting there, I put a nerve hold on the inside of its ear. I kind of crawled around. I'm holding on to it because I have good climbing skills. I'm just putting the nerve hold on the ear, and he's there jacking it up.
Yeah, my character was slashing at it, and eventually we got to a point where it was at not many hit points. So my character,
it had hundreds of hit points.
Yeah, he ripped out one of its teeth, jabbed into his eye, ripped it out, and then took its stomach, just ripped out its organs, and just he killed it.
He killed it. No, it was an extraplanar creature, so it basically just got sent back to its plane. But he did kill the hell out of it. It was really impressive. So that's kind of something his characters had, and it's interesting because he made his character even before he was a werewolf, he made his character crazy. His character,
my character is crazy.
His character's super crazy. So, my character kind of feels kind of bad for him, and it's funny because I'm as close as any dad can be with their kid, but my character don't like his character at all. My character's oh, Christ, this guy here, and because he's this kind of lunatic guy, and Azor has a lot of friction with him too, so it's interesting. But my character feels bad for him, whereas I'm thinking about my character in Ravenloft went and bought a bunch of chains because we heard about how we could get out because we found out we were in a different place. We don't know the word Ravenloft or that stuff yet, but we found out, and we've been able to talk to Harkon Lucas because in the fight that as we're both streamer of consciousness jumping around in the fight that he was talking about, there was this giant vortex portal that opened up, is spinning, and there's this huge amphitheater that's old and crumbling, and the drow and the driders are spilling out of it, and we'd already encountered them several times. And had some encounters with drow. And one of Matt, who was playing this this gnome that got reincarnated into a drow, he went and he got in a fight with Azor, and Azor actually killed him.
Well, he got shot to death with arrows, but yeah.
Azor pretty much killed him, and then I grabbed him. I grabbed his character, I ran with him, trying to protect him, and then he got lit up. And
what
died.
happened was he killed Azor's pregnant wife.
It can get kind of R-rated in our game,
which I think didn't really make sense for his character.
Well, I think what he was doing is, I think his character was becoming evil and such, and something else happened there. I don't know what it is. There's more to it than that. Something happened, and he tried to use some of his ability and get in there and get something back. I don't really know the story. I try not to learn what's going on that I don't know about because I don't want to have that information. I want to just be able to play with information that I actually earned in the game.
Oh, that's a video.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Lots of my videos give the fans something to crave, and it's all this without me going to my Patreon. I gotta. Oh my God, you guys see these new YouTube videos? It's 72 minutes. I go to my Patreon and 42 seconds of content. and then there's like a commercial at the front of them. Ugh, ugh. I mean, the YouTube is really, really just gone down. It's straight garbage now, man. It's really unfortunate what it used to be. This wonderful free exchange of ideas. Now it's this just monetary cash grab for people that are one step above e-baggers. So don't go to my Patreon because I don't have one, and don't click on anything because ain't nothing there to click on. Yeah, but and it was a really interesting fight because it typically you have your faction, your party against monsters, and that's how the fight's going. That's not how this fight went at all. There was a drow, and then there was us. Then there were all these Wolfweir there, Harkon Lucas and his Wolfweir, because they come like, oh, now they'd figured out where the drow
So
were.
there was like 70 dire wolves. My character got one of them as a follower.
They have because he has a follower in AD&D. You get followers, and he had just lost all of them because they were in Cormier when we got pulled in. So he had like a whole pack. He has like a whole wolf pack back there, but he got this dire wolf. He's had
other
followers.
Oh, Wolfweir technically.
Well, yeah, and so in this fight, you have Harkon Lucas's faction, and they're wolves and dire wolves and wolfweirs, and then you see them like changing and shit. It's really cool. And Frank definitely made a point to kind of illustrate that their whole, because he's a werewolf, not a wolfweir. A wolfweir is a different deal. A wolfweir is a deal where you're like born as a wolf, and it's, I guess, more kind of like a lupus in War of the Apocalypse.
I
don't think they have a curse.
I kind of looked at them like, if you looked at them in like their forms, like it'd be kind of like in World of Darkness, you got like red talons and glasswalkers, which are opposite, and they actually look different because they're so because the glasswalkers like only breed with humans basically, and the red talons only breed with wolves basically. So they actually look a little bit different because they've just been breeding with like the different species just too much. So that's kind of how I looked at them, like how they would look different.
Yep, he's 12 and he knows all that. He sits there, and that's not for me telling him. He sits there. We were pretty decent. I mean, it's respectable role playing game library. Not the size of some of the people on YouTube, of course, but pretty good. And a lot of World of Darkness books are old original stuff, of course, not none of the newer things. But he sits there and reads book after book after book. Like for the last, over the last year. Even when he was real little, he'd pull them out and read like the comic book parts in them. And now he just sits there and he just devours the book. Like that's most of what he asked for Christmas. Like, of course, I spent way too much on him for Christmas. Like it's a lot.
I appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you got some really good stuff though for Christmas.
We're gonna be playing in a World of Darkness game after we're done with the Dungeons and Dragons game.
Well, let's not go into there because we're super tangenty over 33 minutes. So that's a whole nother topic in the fan. Tony Silvana, if you will. Being that man, Tony Silvana, Silver Tongue, will be on tonight, AEW, 8 o'clock. So we definitely sit there and watch some AEW. We don't watch WWE at all, but we do watch that AEW show with the Painmaker, the Judas, Chris Jericho. Yeah. He loves him some Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho's pretty cool.
Yeah, he likes to sit there and listen to that. It's funny because he's 12 now. He's got a whole personality and he loves it. That's all he loves to do is martial arts. I got him like one of these really nice like martial arts. It's not like a bag that comes out from the ceiling. It's this huge one that goes up from the floor. It's like, I don't know. I think it was like $175. It's a really nice item, and he just sits there and works on that. He's doing two different martial arts concurrently, and he's real good. And when he spars with the other kids, he spars with the kids that are older than him or adults, and he pushes them around. Like he has no fear of anybody, and it's like a berserker. It's like this monster gremlin attacking you. Like, so my little man's a tough little guy for sure. But he loves playing role playing games, and he gets it like immediately. He got it, and he's sitting there like saying the exact same kind of things that I would say without me even. He's going to be insane. He's better. He's way better than I am when I was 12 by an enormous margin. Of course,
you were playing role playing games when you were 12.
I started when I was 10.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
But they were not very good. Of course, I had no sort of mentorship at all. It was all grabbing around in the dark, sort of learning from what didn't work from other people. That's really how I learned over the years. But he just picks it up. He's like, well, my next character is going to be very different from this one, blah, blah, blah. And he understands the whole psychology, playing in your head, bringing up details like, well, bring up some detail from your past, just kind of working it in instead of just throwing everything out there, working a slow progression, a slow burn. I mean, he gets like everything you'd want somebody to get. He gets it. Um, but let's see here. Oh, so anyway, so back for like the eighth time to the fight. So you get these Wolf Weir contingent from Carthagus fighting. You got us who are these Outlanders from the Forgotten Realms fighting, and then you have a group of followers of Tyr, and they're fighting. Now the followers of Tyr have put out the main. I want to say it's not Eberron, but it's something that sounds kind of like Eberron. Um, the Duke, the one that's supposed to be like Christian's adopted father.
Yeah.
What the heck's his name?
Uh.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. I'll remember the second I turn the video off. Anyway, so we're looking for him. He got sucked into Ravenloft, and we all got kind of scattered all over the place. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because there's lots and lots of sessions have been played. Again, this is going on for almost a year now, and it's really culminating because that character's been there from the first session, and we're going there. Maybe even next session on Friday we'll get there, and then it's going to be what's really good. And I got a plan for him. So these followers of Tyr are there, and they got like cavaliers, like the class cavalier, paladins, knights, soldiers, and clerics, and a whole bunch of them been waxed. A bunch of Archilugus' wolves were killed, and like it's just in there, like we brawling.
Character was like defending them,
and our characters, any character could have gone after anybody in the fight, so that was really cool. But with the Wolf Weirs, like I seen him and I dug upon their style, for he was Pete Steele, and I have to dig that style. Like innately, Cody's just going to dig that,
cool.
And then he's going to dig me. Yeah, Frank did a great job role playing him too, because he wasn't like, I'm going to sit there and answer all your questions. He's like, I'm an evil monster, but I guess you guys are pretty cool. So, and we got to do some cool things there. But anyway, the followers of Tyr took heavy casualties, and Christian's like trying to attack them because they have a bounty on his head. It's a name your bounty. Like the Duke is like, yo, bring him in, and you can name your price on his head when you bring him in. So you have all these people.
Even my character's considering.
Yeah, no, we definitely might jack him. That definitely might happen next game session. The player might get put in the sleeper hold or in the Shinumaki and just choked out and just thrown on there for a bounty. I'll be like, name your price. Well, I don't want to tell them, but I got a cool deal coming up.
I mean, my character kind of I feel like I didn't quite play my character correctly because he probably just in real life probably would have just like killed.
Yeah. Well, you gave him a break. That's okay. I can't be too hard on you for trying to get a guy a break, but trust me, he would not have given you a break. He ain't about that life. But so we are going. We have a location. We got with these followers of Tyr, and I kind of kept Christian and them from fighting. Well, at one point they did fight, and then the priest.
Yeah, you drank their blood.
Yeah, the priest did pulled some nonsense on him. I don't want to go into because that'll take another 2 minutes to explain. But he pulled some nonsense, so I jacked the priest. That didn't kill him. Like we do that a lot. Like we don't just 0 to 60 things. Like it can be just what it can be. Like I jacked the priest's mouth and knocked out, like Frank said, like a whole row of his teeth. Like I knocked 8 of his teeth out, and they went everywhere. And I picked his teeth up later. We met up with some Vistani, and that was pretty cool. But so in the fight, and then the paladins, they're trying to like, oh, there's the great evil, and they're trying to go after Harkon Lucas and this and that, but they don't really have any force. And these people actually, the followers of Tyr, I actually knew some of them from the game. They're not just like, they're just like had maybe a minor, tiny cameo appearance here, and now they're actually getting lines, like 8 months later, 10 months later. So it was kind of interesting to kind of see how that worked. And they all knew who my character was, and they know my character to be to some degree reasonable. So, but at the same time, not a man you mess with. So it was real interesting to see how all that was put together in the game. Basically next session, we're looking to go into that keep in, I don't know if it's in Southern Barovia, and the name Von Zarvich has been brought up.
What's that?
Don't worry about what it is, but that'd be a surprise to you. But that name has been brought up, and of course my character has no idea what that is, but it's going to be interesting to see how it goes forward. And it's been a real good game, so that's what we're doing. That's really been his first role-playing game experience. At his school, they actually have a club. Well, he's only been able to go once. They've had a lot of problems with it, cancellations, and they keep trying to get me to sign stuff. I don't know. this school seems to be very problematic. But they have a Dungeons and Dragons club there. Some kid tried to start, which is very cool. And I encourage him to go to sort of get a better feeling for the organic way that progresses from his age. All right, then, Barbarian Horde. I will get at you mines later.